The fluorescent light in the branch lobby on 42nd Street hums at a frequency that makes the coffee in your paper cup vibrate. At the highest level of private wealth, a $100 million wire transfer moves through the system without a single human signature. The transition from managing money to designing the systems that move it renders the concept of personal wealth obsolete. You sit behind a desk of laminated particle board at a Chase branch in suburban New Jersey. You spend 40 minutes explaining the difference between a high-yield savings account and a basic checking account to a woman holding a crying infant. Why does the ink always smell like ozone? Your base salary is $58,000. You hit a button to print a temporary debit card. The machine jams. You reach inside to clear the paper path. Your fingers are stained with black toner. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation standard insurance amount is $250,000 per depositor. Most Americans hold less than $10,000 in liquid savings. You tell yourself that learning the basic plumbing of the Federal Reserve System is the first step toward the vault. You move to a mid-rise office in Charlotte. The office smells like industrial carpet cleaner. You spend your day on SEC form ADV filings. You verify the Know Your Customer documentation for accounts with $1 million in assets. Section 204 of the Investment Advisors Act of 1940 requires firms to maintain specific records for 5 years. You call a client. You explain why their domestic equity fund underperformed the S&P 500 by 40 basis points. You eat a salad from a plastic container while scrolling through a Bloomberg terminal. The greens are wilted. The blue and orange text reflects off your glasses. The SEC conducted 2,395 examinations of investment advisors in 2023. You leave the office at 7:45 p.m. The cleaning crew is already emptying the trash cans. You tell yourself that the compliance paperwork is a necessary filter to separate the clerks from the bankers. You have a corner desk now. Your clients hold $5 to $10 million in liquid assets. They ask about mortgage rates for a third home in Aspen. You suggest a securities-backed line of credit at 150 basis points over SOFR. The secured overnight financing rate is the primary benchmark for dollar-denominated derivatives. It is based on transactions in the Treasury repurchase market. You review the loan-to-value ratio on a portfolio of municipal bonds. You wear a navy wool suit that cost $1,200. You spend 2 hours on the phone with the mortgage department to push a jumbo loan through. You drink sparkling water from a glass bottle. You place the bottle on a leather coaster. You check the time on your phone screen. The screen is dark. You tell yourself that $10 million is the entry point for being treated like a human being by the institution. The $25 million minimum is the new floor for your attention. You sit in a climate-controlled suite at a stadium in Miami. You do not discuss interest rates with the developer sitting to your left. You talk about tax loss harvesting and the structure of a Delaware statutory trust. How much of the map is actually owned by people you can name? You coordinate a 3-way call with an estate attorney to finalize a grantor retained annuity trust. The lifetime gift and estate tax exemption in the United States falls to roughly $7 million per individual in 2026. You move assets to maximize the step up in basis for the heirs. You board a flight to London. You sit in seat 2A. You watch the Atlantic through the glass. You land and take a black car to a townhouse in Mayfair. You tell yourself that your value is no longer in the advice, but in the access to the tax code's loopholes. You look at the clouds. You land at JFK. You oversee a team of 20 senior bankers. Your regional book of business is $4 billion. You spend Tuesday morning reviewing the profit and loss statements of the Manhattan office. The top 1% of American households hold 30% of total household wealth. You attend a charity gala at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. You stand near the buffet in the Temple of Dendur. You do not pick up a plate. You speak to a man whose family office controls 3 international shipping lines. You discuss the insurance premiums associated with the geopolitical risk in the Straits of Malacca. Family offices globally manage an estimated $6 trillion in assets. You take a black car to a hotel on Central Park South. You read a briefing on emerging market debt. You tell yourself that the money has become a scoreboard for people who have already bought everything they can see. You enter the elevator lobby. The doors open on the 60th floor. The floor is polished concrete. The windows are floor to ceiling. The spire of the Chrysler Building is level with your eyes. You sit at a table of dark stone. 3 lawyers sit across from you. They do not have coffee. You review the documents for a cross-border merger involving a sovereign wealth fund. The transaction value is $12 billion. Sovereign wealth funds hold over $11 trillion in assets globally. The Abu Dhabi Investment Authority remains one of the largest entities in this asset class. You mark a line with a red pen. The paper is heavy bond. You wait for the digital signature to appear on the wall-mounted screen. The room is silent. You drink black coffee from a white ceramic cup. The digital timestamp on the document updates. You stand up. You walk toward the elevator. The elevator doors open at the parking level. A black sedan waits in the shadows. You arrive at Teterboro. The Gulfstream G650ER idles on the tarmac. You board the aircraft. No passenger manifest exists for this tail number. You land in a city that does not appear on your public calendar. You enter a room with 4 people. No laptops are present. The table holds only heavy bond paper. You review the terms of a credit facility intended to stabilize a national currency. The Bank for International Settlements facilitates roughly $1.5 trillion in currency trades every 24 hours. You unscrew the cap of a fountain pen. You sign the final page. The ink is black. You leave the building through a side entrance. You walk to the car. Rain hits the windshield. The driver does not look back. The leather of the seat is cold. You look at a phone screen with no notifications. You check your watch. The house is on the Big Sur coast. The room contains no screens. You look at a leather-bound ledger. You call a number. You say 3 words. The transaction completes in Zurich. The sum is not recorded in a public filing. The Tax Justice Network records $32 trillion in private wealth held in offshore jurisdictions. Most of these assets are held in trusts. You walk to the window. The Pacific Ocean is grey. The sun is behind clouds. You sit in a chair. The chair is white oak. You pick up a book. A young man walks into the lobby of the bank on 42nd Street. He wears a suit with the tags recently removed. He carries a leather briefcase. He approaches the desk where a banker sits behind a laminated partition. He asks about opening a high-yield savings account. Is he early or late? You walk past the glass doors of the elevator lobby. You look at the young man. You do not stop. You exit onto the sidewalk. You wait for the car to pull to the curb. The architecture of the system remains, or the names on the ledgers change.